When most people think of Las Vegas, they imagine slot machines, flashing lights, and fleeting fortunes. But just off the Strip, one man turned forgotten heirlooms and desperate deals into a cultural empire. Rick Harrison didn't just run a pawn shop. He built a dynasty of gold, grit, and gut instinct. And behind the scenes of Pawn Stars lies a story more dramatic than anything ever aired on TV. Family feuds, missing fortunes, and a legacy that might outlive them all. Rick Harrison is best known as the cool-headed expert on Pawn Stars, but his rise to a $9 million net worth is the result of grit, strategy, and long-term vision. Back in 1981, he was a teenager working for his father, Richard "the Old Man" Harrison, in a small second-hand store on Las Vegas Boulevard. The shop was just 300 square feet, selling coins and collectibles by day, while Rick repossessed cars at night to make ends meet. But they had a dream, turning the humble storefront into a full-fledged pawn shop. There was one big challenge. Las Vegas laws tied pawn licenses to population growth. New licenses were only issued when the city crossed certain thresholds. So Rick began calling the city's statistician weekly, waiting for the numbers to hit the mark. In 1989, the population finally reached the required milestone. Rick seized the opportunity, and the gold and silver pawn shop was born. Business took off. By 2005, they were issuing $3 million in loans annually and bringing in $700,000 a year in interest alone. The shop quickly became a destination for gamblers, collectors, and anyone looking to turn rare items into quick cash. But Rick had bigger ambitions. In the early 2000s, a PBS documentary and a Comedy Central feature sparked wider interest. Rick spent years pitching a reality show idea, facing rejections until the History Channel said yes in 2009. Pawn Stars debuted with a simple format: people bringing in items to be evaluated and sold. What made the show special was Rick's dry humor, deep knowledge, and sharp instincts. Unlike most reality shows, Pawn Stars didn't fade. By 2023, it had aired 633 episodes over 21 seasons. At its peak, the shop drew more than 4,000 visitors a day. Behind the scenes, Rick invested in real estate, gold, and silver. As inflation rose in the 2020s, he publicly warned about it, arguing that hard assets were essential in a shaky economy. He even questioned the gold reserves at Fort Knox and called for greater transparency. But Rick's real legacy is the brand he built. His son, Corey Harrison, nicknamed Big Hoss, was raised in the business, starting with polishing silver in the back and eventually becoming a full-time manager and co-star. Corey has developed into a savvy operator, often taking the lead on major deals. Then there's Austin "Chumley" Russell, Corey's childhood friend, who evolved from comic relief to a trusted expert in Pokemon cards, sneakers, and pop culture items. In one 2025 episode, Chumley tracked down a Pokemon card collection worth over $1.2 million. Rick admits he doesn't fully understand the Pokemon craze, but he respects Chumley's eye for value. The shop now earns over $1 million a year just from trading cards. Other eye-catching acquisitions include a rare Colonel Sanders portrait for $1,900 and a 1971 Superbird Rick bought for $54,000. Investments not just in nostalgia, but in appreciating assets. In 2018, Rick's father passed away. Known to fans as the Old Man, Richard was a key presence both in the store and on the show. Before he died, he updated his will to intentionally cut out one of his sons, Christopher, while leaving assets to Rick, his wife Joanne, and another son, Joseph. The decision made headlines, but no one in the family has ever revealed why. After his passing, tensions escalated. Rick's mother, Joanne, filed a lawsuit claiming she had unknowingly signed over her 51% ownership of the shop while hospitalized in 2000. She believes she should now control the entire business, including her late husband's 49% share. She also alleged that $500,000 in cash and silver disappeared, demanding a freeze on Rick's use of estate assets. Even with the legal drama, Rick keeps building. In 2019, he listed his custom-built Las Vegas mansion for $3.99 million. Spanning nearly 9,000 square feet, it boasted a lagoon-style pool, a wine cellar, a theater, and granite floors that cost $45,000 alone. After spending $600,000 on renovations, Rick decided to let go of the home once his kids moved out. He continues investing in collectibles, including a major 2025 purchase of Where the Wild Things Are original illustrations. Originally priced at $375,000, Rick brought in an expert who valued them at $310,000 and negotiated the deal down to $250,000. It was one of the show's largest ever buys, made not for sentiment, but for long-term value. With so many assets, real estate, rare artifacts, gold, and growing royalties, the big question is what happens when Rick steps aside. Corey appears to be the heir apparent, having worked alongside his father for years. But the pressure is real, especially with family disputes and emotional weight involved. Rick's family tree adds complexity. He's had multiple marriages, his ex-wives Kim and Tracy, and current wife Amanda Palmer, whom he married in 2021, all of which add legal layers to any future inheritance. In situations where big money meets tangled relationships, things rarely stay clean. Now Rick is expanding again, into media. In 2025, he and Chumley are launching a podcast called Pawn After Dark. It promises behind-the-scenes stories, outrageous customers, and insider collectibles talk without the camera filter. With former Pawn Stars producer Tracy Whitaker involved, and guests like Mark Davis and Billy Gibbons rumored. Early buzz is strong. Streaming platforms and sponsors are already lining up, and Rick remains firmly in control. Rick currently earns $100,000 per Pawn Stars episode. Corey is worth an estimated $4 million and recently released a memoir titled Licensed to Pawn. He's also made bold personal buys, like a $38,000 boat, while keeping the brand fresh for younger fans. Chumley, now worth around $5 million, has branched out with his own store, Chumley's Candy on the Boulevard, and continues to draw a dedicated following. Despite his success, Rick has made it clear that trust and leadership belongs to Corey. That became evident in 2024 when Rick publicly criticized Chumley for mishandling a rare coin deal, reaffirming Corey as the future of the business. Today, Rick's empire includes his Summerlin mansion, a vault of gold and silver, ongoing royalties from Pawn Stars, and spin-offs like Pawn Stars Do America, which takes the team across the country to meet sellers. The brand is thriving beyond Las Vegas, but all of it, every asset, every relationship, every decision, adds to a legacy that's as fragile as it is valuable. When the time comes to pass it on, Rick's carefully built blueprint will determine whether his fortune brings the family together or tears it apart. Outro. Rick Harrison turned a $3 pawn deal into a multi-million-dollar legacy. But when money meets family, the real drama begins. If you found this story fascinating, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next in the world of pawn fortunes and untold legacies.